So I recently learned that you actually started weights when you were like 8.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. Everyone's going into business coaching. Everybody's going into marketing, but they don't actually have a skill set. So they're basically getting really good at selling a product that doesn't work. So it would be like, it's like they're selling wish.com personal training, but they're really good at selling. They're really good at marketing, but they actually don't know how to do a good job.
Welcome to Summon Your Superhuman. I'm your host, Ria Mestiza, and I'm coming to you from IOPC Gym in Brisbane, and with my guest, Luke Leaman. He is like the OG guru of the industry, I'm going to say. Like, he's 27 years. He's been a professional in this industry. There's not really anything he hasn't done. And now he's got this amazing facility. I've just spent another weekend with you. And thank you for agreeing to do an interview for the show.
Anytime.
So I recently learned that you actually started weights when you were like 8.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
So, I realized on my top it said 1986. So that's
about that time. Yeah.
And so your inspiration for picking up weights started as a bit of a joke, I think, but you were inspired by Conan the Barbarian, Mr. Arnie.
Yeah. So, well, just to give a little backstory. So, because I was born and raised in Texas.
Yes.
In a small town. So if you've seen Varsity Blues, which I did stunts in, it's like it's old MTV movie from the early 2000s, but it's a kind of a parody, but it's also kind of not. Like, that's really how a small town works. It's like the football guys are like the superheroes of the town, and the whole town shuts down when it's Friday night to play. So we all start lifting weights really early for American football. But my biggest dream was, I saw Conan the Barbarian and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was like, that is how a man should look, and that's what I wanted to look like Conan. So that got me like in love with bodybuilding. So I started lifting for football, but with a bodybuilder interest. Yeah, and I was lucky to have a lot of good mentors on us. Right, all of our coaches were ex-collegiate football players and power lifters, and so they really got me on the right road of understanding how to lift correctly. And we never used anything fancy. It was like Bill Starr's 5x5 routine, and just like real old school, like power building, like real 70s type of lifting. That's we did for ages. Yeah. Yeah. So I was huge. Like when I was in high school, like my senior year, I got to close to 110 kilos my senior year, and trimmed down to like 100 kilos for powerlifting. Yeah. Big corn-fed country boys.
Well, that's good. But like usually it does start from an interest in sports, because I asked my dad to buy me a dumbbell when I was 12 because I wanted to be stronger for sports.
Yeah.
Because I'm not tall. So I figured
a dumbbell.
Well, like dumbbells. He ended up making it for me out of concrete because he's Italian, and if you know anything Italian, he's like, oh, I'll make it for you. So. But I already understood then that getting stronger was going to correlate to me being a better basketball player, better in whatever I wanted to do. Because I had speed, but I wanted more strength and power. So I already understood that. But like back then, like the same with you, it's like magazines were like the library, to study.
Yeah. No internet. I didn't grow up with that. I didn't get that till 1992 when I was 14. With Muscle and Fitness, Flex magazine, and we had the Powerlifting USA magazine, and like in my hometown, it's like the local library, which had maybe 2 or 3, like one old Arnold books in black and white. So you just kind of had to piece stuff together, or you had to some bro or they had to teach you, right?
Yep. Yeah, well, I had no one to teach me because in Australia, we don't really have that same kind of culture as you guys have, unfortunately.
Now, it is getting now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely
it wasn't. Yeah. I joined the gym, and it was the only people in the gym were, meatheads and athletes.
Yeah, because how old are you?
I'm 38.
38. Okay, so not that disconnect of a generation. Because like I tell you guys in class, when I got into gyms, you didn't see women there. Yeah. It was all guys.
Yeah.
And you might see two women there, and they were part of the Dollar Shave Club because they were juiced up bodybuilders, but it wasn't really a thing for women to be in the gym. It was really taboo at the time, and women thought of making bulky. So all the women are into like Jane Fonda stuff, and they get a record and records, and they would dance around in their leotards at home, or they would go to the yoga class, and you wouldn't see them in the gym.
Yeah, everyone thought I was weird. Like they thought I was strange. And my mom's Filipino, so she sees her like 12-year-old daughter reading like bodybuilding magazines with like American big bodybuilders on there, and she's like, "Oh dear Lord, like what is my daughter getting herself into?" Like she wants to turn into like a big bulky woman. Yeah, she honestly was genuinely worried. But I was like, no, I understand that I want to get stronger. Like I want to perform better.
Yeah.
And that's why I ultimately did it. And I've just loved it ever since. Obviously I did go through the phase of what women do is aerobic classes and all that sort of stuff when you start out, and because it's easier to just go into a class and just follow along, which is why I do empathize with people that say all I've ever done is it's classes, it's easier to do.
Yeah.
And I said, well, great, but now's the time to, hone in and fine tune what it is you really want. And then that's when they come to people like us, is to dial in on, training, nutrition, and getting their body right.
It's funny that you say that your dad made you some concrete dumbbells. Like I started out with concrete because back then you couldn't really buy fitness equipment. And I remember must have been 7 or 8. And I asked my parents for a barbell for Christmas. And they laughed. They laughed about it. They thought it was funny. And then at Christmas, I got like a Sears Roebuck set from DP. And it was just a hollow bar and these plastic purple weights that had concrete inside. And then you got a little poster, and you would just follow the poster, do your curls and you do your push-ups and all that. That's how I started.
Wow. That's awesome.
And my sister was 5 years older than me. And so throughout high school, trying to gain favors with her boyfriends at the time would have equipment they didn't want. So one of them gave me a bench, one of them gave me a couple of rusted dumbbells. So they were just giving me stuff to try to get my sister's pants. And I don't know if it works. It's none of my business, but I had a backyard with just a bunch of just random equipment I would lift on. Then at some point, the guy who was like the all-star quarterback of our high school football team moved across the street. And then I wanted to get into like athletic stuff, and I would go out for 1.5 mile runs with him, and we'd start running, and he would just go down the road. He'd come back and he goes, "All right, you got about 1 more mile, and then I'll meet you back at the house." I'm like, okay, shit. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
In the Texas heat, 42 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah.
I lost my track. Oh, that's right. So before you were muscle nerds, you were the muscle nerd, right?
Well,
you had a reputation as being the muscle nerd.
Yeah. So like that whole muscle nerd thing kind of came as a joke. So I was working at Polican Group, and we were in Manchester. And at the time, this was before my wife bought me LASIK. So I refused to pay for it. So I had glasses the contacts from the age of 8. And Zoe, we got back to Brisbane. She goes, "You need to go to your eye appointment." I go, "Eye appointment? I just went to an eye appointment in London. Like I just did that. I got new glasses." She goes, "No, you're getting LASIK." I go, "We can't afford that." She goes, "I've been hiding money from you for the last like 2 years." I'm like, "Holy shit!" So I got LASIK. But where was I going with that one?
The joke about muscle nerds.
The joke was, So I was lecturing, and one of my colleagues took a picture of me and my glasses, and I was being jacked at the time. I was like 115 kilos, and these glasses. And he started a Facebook page called Muscle Nerd Leaman. I was like, I like that. So so when I left Polican Group, that became a thing. We became the Muscle Nerds.
Yeah. Well, it's true, because we are really a bunch of muscle nerds. It's like who you attract are muscle nerds, because we love everything to do with muscle and gaining it and keeping it and nourishing it, really.
100%. Nothing better than having big muscles and being strong.
Yeah.
Like you said, you were talking about earlier, because you and I do a lot of the same type of things, is like having muscle, but then being able to use it. So being functional, being able to move. So, I've gone from like early days of teaching people how to get really strong, really lean, build muscles. But then, I turned 46 this year, and I've always kind of been in the movement stuff and the remedial stuff, manual therapy, fascial stretch therapy, all that. And I just realized, man, we go to the gym and work our muscles, but we don't work our joints. And so we get all these guys who look really good, but can't actually move. And they're 5 or 10 degrees in a movement of basically tearing their joint apart and becoming completely dysfunctional. So that's why, like, this whole weekend when we were talking, is you guys need to take care of your joints. And you see, like, the movement guys get it. And they're like, yeah, 100%. But then you see some of the big bodybuilder guys there, skeptical Sam, and they're looking at me with this hairy eyeball. They're like, I don't believe you. And then you pull a big bodybuilder up and you go, let me see how far you can bring your arm back. It's like, oh my God, you look great, man. You look physique fan, but you actually have no ability to move your arm or your leg where you need it to go.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of, like, what's the point of having all that muscle if you can't use it?
Yeah.
I mean, you say it and I say it as well. It's like, there's purpose. Like, if you get ready for a show, sure, do what you got to do, at all costs, right? Like, athletes, there is a purpose, and there is, even for, like, martial arts, you need to have a certain degree of tightness. Like, I work with boxers and things as well. It's like, I really just want to open them up, because I see that and I'm like, I just want to fix that. But it's like, no, they need a degree of tightness, because otherwise they lose their form. It's everything, like, to suit the clients that we work with. Like,
That's
it's
right.
Truly individualized to who we work with, like, no exception.
And that's what makes the challenge of teaching this stuff, right? Because I'm in class with, say, 40 people, and they're all from completely different areas of the industry. They all have their own individual biases, their own individual sports and all that. It's like, how do I convince these guys that are so muscle bias centric, don't care about movement, just building muscle? How do I get them to understand that you need to sprinkle a little bit of this stuff? And then talking to the movement guys, it's like, you guys move well, but you could realistically do with a bit more strength, like externally loaded strength instead of just body weight strength. So it's like, how do we get everybody to understand that, it's like they say with the truth, like, your side of the story, my side of the story, somewhere in the middle lies the truth.
Yeah.
And how do you get them to understand that we don't want to really, especially for our clients, be super biased in one direction without having a little bit of percentage of this other stuff too, because it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's why you teach us a lot of the different variables to look at.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to take everything into consideration. And then there's usually always a big whiteboard and lots of, like, scribbling and a lot of different scenarios and case studies that we can all sort of, bounce our brains around, like, and just exchange experience.
Yeah. We're really lucky with our students because, like, we take pride in the fact that the people that we attract are people that want to think, and they're open to those ideas, and they're you get a lot of people who are like, no, my way or the highway, or you have to do this or that. There is no gray; it's all black and white. So we do, you try to attract the types of people that you want to work with, and that is all of our students. Like, I can talk about out of the box thinking. And big thing that we teach, like you other educators teach a process of, here's a 10-step process, do this, or they teach a system. We teach a system of no systems. Like, it's like the Bruce Lee thing, right? So it's like, I have experience powerlifting, strongman, grappling, MMA, bodybuilding, gen pop. It's like, having those tools allows you to solve problems, which is what a good coach should be doing. Like, your client has a problem, they're willing to trade you some cash to solve the problem. If you don't have a big toolbox, you're going to try to solve the problem with the tools that you have, and those may not be the tools that are actually appropriate for that.
Yep.
So it's like, really creating a blueprint of where my client is, and trying to create a flow chart. Like, okay, can the client do this? No. Have you considered this or this or this? We're going to find some strategy that turns that no into a yes. But a lot of guys they're not willing to think about that. They think, well, if someone's fucked up, we'll just use machines, just work around it.
Yeah.
It's like, cool, that's fine. You can work around it. That's never going to fix the problem. And if you don't at least attempt with a little bit of stuff to fix that, the stronger they get, the less capable they're going to be. And I've always been of the opinion, because this will relate to you, because we're both athletes. We've both been real athletes. Bodybuilding's, to me, not a sport. It's not athlete sport. It's an activity. It's physical. It's massively psychological and mental fortitude. And to me, the physical aspect of bodybuilding is like the easiest part. Building muscle and getting really lean is a really basic process. being able to build high levels of muscularity and have the mental fortitude to starve yourself to get lean enough to get on stage, that's a massively mental, psychological, you have to be mentally tough for that. But you don't actually have to be physically tough to be a bodybuilder. And you can say the same thing with powerlifting. Like getting really strong for powerlifting is not rocket science. There's no athletic endeavor. There's physical endeavor to those, but there's no athletic endeavor. There's no agility involved. There's no deceleration, reacceleration. There's no vertical jump that's necessary for that. There's no hand-eye coordination. It's pretty easy stuff. But that's probably why bodybuilders and powerlifters should be doing a little bit of athletic stuff to try to retain some type of movement. When you look at the training athletes, there's so many things you have to deal with. And so I like to train normal people, like a scaled down athlete, because athletes move well. They open up well. They're not bulletproof. No one's bulletproof to injury, but they're more resilient. Their percentage of getting injured goes down if they can actually move. But like what you were saying earlier, where you see like an athlete and they're in a certain posture and you're like, instinctually, you and I want to fix that. But then we go, wait a minute, that posture is conducive to their sport.
Yeah.
Structure is related to function, function related to structure. So it's like, if your structure is altered for a specific function of that sport, if we try to fix that, we're actually going to create other issues and they're not going to perform as well. So it's like you have to learn how to fix stuff in a way that doesn't impede their sport, but either reverses or delays their chances of getting hurt, right? But then a lot of the coaches that have a big bias, or they have a sport or a physical activity that they do, if that's all they ever think about, then, and they're only training their clients that way, that may not be conducive to what the client wants, which most Gen Pop clients want to be more capable, not in the gym, outside of the gym.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to be like, okay, if I'm going to make you really capable in the gym, does that actually translate to playing with your kids, not having a hurt back, being able to have great sex without hurting your back, not being stiff all the time, so we have to start thinking about what's best for the client, not what's best for being in the gym.
Yeah, well, they're all interrelated. It's like if they get stronger and better in the gym, then they, by default, learn how to move better and not injure themselves outside of the gym.
That's right.
I love hearing that. Like when I hear mums telling me that they're doing single leg deadlifts to pick up kids' toys and things like that, because it's just kind of coming automatic,
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to hear, that they're like bending properly to pick shit up off the ground. They're like laborers and stuff like that. And they're like, my back hasn't, I used to wear a back brace every day and now I can do my work pain-free. I'm like, brilliant.
I think the good word for this is being more capable. Just being more capable in life.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like our gym, you look at our clients there, most of them, 130 clients, the vast majority of them want to be more capable outside of the gym. They want what they're doing in the gym, they want it to make their life better. We have a handful of guys in here who are like, I want to get really fucking strong. I want to get really big chest, big arms. Most of them just want to reverse the pizza and wine on the weekends and reverse the back pain and actually, train 3-4 hours a week and then be like, okay, I can walk upstairs without my knee hurt. Walk downstairs without my knee hurt. I can get out of bed without my back hurting. That's the reality of Gen Pop people.
Yeah. Which
means we have to recognize that and train them in a way and program them in a way that's going to give them what they're actually asking for. So it's like, if you went and bought a new car, like what's your dream car?
Right.
A Ferrari. Okay, that's a very common dream car. Right? That's not a cheap car, right? Now, let's say I would never buy a car like that. Do you know why?
Why?
I would be scared to death to take it anywhere.
Well, that's true. I actually know someone who owns one and how to drive.
Yeah, and I believe in driving my cars. Like I have a fast car, but I bought like a really fast go-kart, like an entry-level AMG that's like a go-kart. It's like a teenager's car. It's really fast.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that expensive, nothing like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I'm still like parking that shit like in Egypt and then walk into the thing because I don't want to get it dinged. If I had a Ferrari, a Lambo, a McLaren, man, I would be shitting myself anytime I took it somewhere.
It's a cruiser.
It's a cruiser. Like you just take it on a Sunday and don't let anybody touch it. But don't let a bird shit on it. But it's like, if you want to, let's say you did go and you buy your Ferrari and you bought it and then you showed up to pick it up and you wanted a cherry red Ferrari, right? You showed up and they said, here's your keys. And you look over there and it's a Honda Civic. Cherry red Honda Civic. you wouldn't be very happy with that.
No.
But that's exactly what happens when people go into gyms. They're like, I want to feel better, look better, move better, all this. And then they're like, okay, but then they give you just a powerlifting routine or a bodybuilder routine. And the gym pop clients don't know any better. They'll just do it.
Yeah.
But, and it's not a bad program. It's a great program. It's designed for what it's supposed to do, but it's not what they asked. That's not what they were purchasing.
Yep.
Right. So it's like a bait and switch because the coach in their mind thinks that everybody should be a bodybuilder. Everybody should be a powerlifter. That's the best way of doing it. It's like, no, that's the only way you know how to do it. And that's why all of your clients get that, regardless if that's the best program out for them.
It says a lot when you see, I've worked in a commercial gym most of my career, and it's like, I've seen it all. Like, I see the trainers who, they're doing an arm day for their own workout, and then their client comes in and it's arm day for them too. And like, they're not even like specifying what they don't even have a plan long term. It's just like, literally session by session.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you want to do today, man? It's like, you're asking the client what they want to do. Like,
the worst, right? And I remember I was in Perth, and Marks. Like, Marks was at Biosig when we met 14 years ago.
Yeah, 2014.
So she teaches body combat. And so she had to teach, and I was hanging out with her, and I was like, well, I'll go to the gym and I'll work out while you do that. And so we were there for a few hours, and I watched this one coach stay in the same area, and she trained 4 or 5 people the exact same program. Mm-hmm. She had a man came in, did the same thing. She had a little old Asian lady that came in. She had a huge, massively obese lady came in doing box jumps. It was the same program. She never left that area. I'm looking at her going, you have 4 completely different clients, and you're doing the same thing because there's an education gap there. But what's crazy is, like, nowadays, when you and I, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you had to do continuing education. Because even though this is a low barrier to entry career, there was a lot of competition. Nowadays, there's not competition, it's just saturated. Yep. So your competition comes from just people undercutting you with prices or being very good at marketing, but not actually know what the fuck they're doing. We didn't have social media to lean on, so we actually had to know what we were doing. We had to have a portfolio. There's a lot of referral, word of mouth. Nowadays, anybody can look like an expert on social media, and then you watch them train, like, you have no idea what you're doing. And the young generation won't do continuing education. They think they can learn everything they need to on a 60-second video on TikTok, or they watch a 15-minute video on YouTube where there's a lot of context missing, and they're learning from people who actually don't even know what they're talking about.
Well, that's the thing. Like, back in, for years now, but especially in the last 4 or 5 years, people always used to say to me, like, why don't you post? You don't post a lot. You don't share a lot of content and things like that. And I was like, the people who are like truly honing in on their craft, and they're like specializing with helping people and doing, like, it's not just the face-to-face stuff. Like, we do so much behind the scene work,
studying or writing,
always studying. Like, I'm the same as you. Like, we're just like always looking to learn. So it's like, we don't post because we're too busy actually doing what we're supposed to be doing, and to focus on creating content. But obviously now in this day and age, we do need to put ourselves out there a little bit more, but to share good stuff, because otherwise it's like, what's the point of knowing everything that we know if we don't share it? Yeah.
And so a lot of people ask, like, why is your Instagram so shit? Like, you guys post, but you don't post like twice a day like everybody else would. We've never had to.
Yeah.
We built our reputation on word of mouth and doing really good work. And we're doing too much work. So what people need to understand is, if you're doing a good job and you're working, you don't have time to make videos. You don't have time to film content. You're too busy taking care of your clients. Yeah. So it's like, if I see someone posting all the time, I'm just going to assume they're content creators, and they're probably selling $50 programs, and they're giving everybody the same program. They're not actually professional coaches. Mm-hmm. So it's like, because if you were doing your job as a coach, you would be too busy behind the scenes to actually do a bunch of videos. I have no time to do that type of shit, because I'm working so much that if I have downtime, I'm hanging out with my wife and dogs. I'm reading. I'm playing video games, or I'm working out myself, or I'm hanging out and helping Max and chatting. I'm having downtime because, we come from that old school where like a full-time job in coaching is like 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You might be doing 55, 60 sessions, but then you got another 20, 25 hours of behind the scenes stuff where you're writing programs, analyzing client stuff, communicating with clients, and then on your study, doing continuing education.
Well, that's what a real coach should be doing.
Yeah.
I used to always hear like, oh man, have you heard of this guy? Like, he's great. He's doing like 10 sessions a day in the gym. And I'm like, I guarantee you that guy doing 10 sessions a day is not doing any extra education. He's not actually like programming out, periodization for what their goals are. Like, there's no personalization.
No.
At all.
It's called personal training.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the problem is, there's a low barrier of entry, right? So it's like you go in, you do 3-month course, you can do it online now, like it never used to be that way. So you go in 3 months, get this certification, then people go, sweet, I'm qualified, and then don't do anything else. And so like, even in our industry, there are people who've been there for like 10 years, but what they're doing is they're just exercising the same experience like year after year. And it's like, bro, you were doing the same thing. Like,
they never grow.
They never grow.
They never get any better. And it's like some of the people we had in class this week, and they're like, how do you remember so much? How do you constantly come up with new things? I can't do that. And I'm like, well, I tell you what, I do when I'm answering stuff on Instagram or Facebook. You pop up and you're spending all day chatting to people, posting, having online arguments. Of course, you don't have time to study. Do you see me doing that? No, I'm too busy saying I don't have any time to fucking argue with people. And if I'm having conversations with people, it's about training and coaching. It's not like I'm fucking around.
Yeah.
But they can't seem to understand why they're not getting better. I'm like, you're not actually doing anything to get better. You're too busy using your sword and not sharpening it enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's too much information out there. And then I always hear from people, I was following so-and-so's program, or like they, some cookie cutter program, or some influencer that they're following that's not even, hasn't even bothered to go get qualified, but they've got a nice body. And so it's like, I want to look like you and I'll pay you money to look like you. And it's like, it's crazy to me, that people actually respect people who just because they look good. It's like, but you say it, and as well as it's like people in their 20s don't have to try very hard. Like, no. I love how candid you speak about how, like, when you were young, young and dumb. You say that you're young and dumb still now, but like, when you were like actual like young, you said you were dumb in the stupid things that you would do. Because, you were hardcore. It's like all or nothing kind of attitude, and put your body on the line. And you were very methodical still, though, even though you did a lot of crazy things. But there was a reason for it.
I did a lot of crazy shit with training, with different diets. I've tried last night I was asked about a couple of diets. Have you done this? I've done it all. There's nothing you're going to do that I haven't done before. I've been doing this. I started training when I was 8 years old. Trust me, I've been through the high carb, low carb, keto, South Beach diet, Atkins diet. I've been through body opus. I've been through anabolic diet. I've done eco keto, which is a vegan ketogenic diet. I've done everything. And I've always done that because I want to see what it does. And I've never given anybody anything I haven't done myself.
I can truly say that too. I pride myself on that.
Yeah, if I'm going to give something to somebody, I need to experience it first. So like if I'm going to train somebody for an endurance sport, I'm going to actually train myself for a few months just to see what do I need to take care of. Like one of the big things lately, I had an ultra marathoner, 100K vegan trail run ultra. I've had a bunch of endurance athletes. I go, okay, I'm not going to run. I'll be honest, I'm not going to run a marathon or an ultra to teach somebody that, but I'm going to start working on like 10, 15K. Okay, maybe I do a month of vegan just to see what it's like and see, okay, where do I feel like the bottleneck is for my ability to run far? And I realized last year, it's like learning actually how to run. Because people just start running and they don't do any drills and they don't actually know how to run. They don't know how to pick the right footwear. They don't know how to steps per minute or their stride. So I put myself through all that to then say, okay, I now have a reasonable grasp. And then anything else that I need to know, I'll pay someone that's an expert to then fill in those gaps. But you realistically have to experience this stuff. I wanted to train weightlifting. So Back in the day, in my early days, I did a lot of like Eastern European and Russian type of stuff. And then 2 years ago, got into Chinese weightlifting. I said, okay, what can I learn from that? And I put myself through 2 years of weightlifting, right?
Nice.
So now I feel confident that I can train that. But people should always only take on clients that they have a reasonable level of knowledge and skill towards that, right? It's like a bodybuilder taking on a marathon runner. It's like, you don't know, you have no idea what's going on here. Right?
Yep.
Somebody that's like, ooh, I can get really lean. I'm going to take on a high level competitor. If you've never been on stage and you've never been that lean, you have no idea what's going on. Like, you really have to have some experience in it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying somebody has to actually get on stage, but it's a good idea to like push yourself as close to that level as you can, because you'll find that it's not what you think. Like, you feel like a bag of garbage, So that's what I like about having Max, because Max is like a mini me. So Max is like, he wanted to learn Olympic weightlifting, so we worked on that for 1.5 years. Then he wanted to get really lean, so he did that. Now he signed up for powerlifting meets and that. He's like, he does all this stuff. So it's like right now, while he's young, same thing I did. I just flip-flop back and forth through different things. And other coaches, my colleagues, would laugh at me. They're like, your ADD is not just that, it's also in your training. And yeah, but if I do this for 20 years, I'm going to know how to train all that stuff, and I'm going to know how to use it all together, whereas you only know how to do your thing. So it's important to have a lot of different experiences like that.
Yeah. I think it highlights what you were saying before about how, there's a lot of new coaches, new trainers coming in that want the experience and knowledge like this. And it's like, well, yeah, you can get it. Like, we can like hit you in the face with the knowledge, but like, you won't know what to do with it.
Still won't understand it.
Yeah, you need to actually like take it, let it marinate, and like put it to work practically and see it, like practical application of that coming to fruition. It's like, did it work when you tried this? How did that client, adapt to all of the different things that you experimented with and things?
Yeah.
And then as time goes by, it's like, the reason why they say with the 10,000 hour rule, it's true. Like, I really struggle to do exercises incorrectly because I've done it correctly so many thousands and thousands of times.
Yeah.
So when I try to show someone how to do something wrong, I'm like,
yeah, you got to kind of figure it out again, right?
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with their knowledge. Like, they need to try it and try it again until they get it.
Yeah.
Right?
And oh man, I got so much I can say on this. Like, here's the thing. Like, one of the things that people go, well, I'm 25 and I want to know what you know now. I'm like, okay, I'm 20 years ahead of you, and I started when I was 14 studying this stuff. So I was already like 10 years ahead of you. So I'm like 30 years ahead of you realistically. If it was that, don't wish for that. Because if someone just gave it to you, you wouldn't value the knowledge. Also, if it was that easy to learn, no one would need you.
Yeah.
So like one of the discussions we had last night, where we're like, okay, if we just had a matrix thing, we just upload the information. I wish I could do that. I'm like, yeah, but if you could do that, so could your clients.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a job anymore because everybody can learn it. What's special about what we do at our level of knowledge is not everybody can do it, which is why we'll never have to worry about work.
Yep.
People go, well, AI will get better. It's not anywhere close to what it needs to be, and there's no personal aspect to AI.
Yep.
Zoe, at one point, went and asked the AI to write her a Olympic weightlifting routine. It was god awful. Like, there's just no way. I don't think it'll be 20 years before AI gets that advanced.
Yeah.
But that's what these young coaches want. They want it to be like AI. They want something that'll spit it out, and they don't actually have to do any work.
Yeah.
But it's like, where's the fun in that?
There is no fun in that.
Do you want to be an expert, or do you want to have a machine that's the expert?
Yeah.
And you just make the money? Because if that's the case, get out of the industry.
Like, Luke, if you were a robot, like, one, we wouldn't have like gelled when we met, and I wouldn't be continuing to come back to spend time with you. Like, I love just being around you because I always learn something when we chat. It's like, I don't want to go speak to a robot, and I don't want someone to just spit out a program. Like, there is no fun in that, and it's that trial and error because, even like we're very good at program design now, right? Like, we've been doing it such a long time. So it's like, but we may make a tweak, if we see something like, actually, I don't quite like that. I might, change that a little bit. Perfect. Like that's what we want. And that's what computers can't do, like, because they don't have that eye Like my eyes are so like, I'm sure it's the same with you, like does my wife's head in because she's just like, stop analyzing bodies. Like we go for a hike or something and I'm like, oh, that person's knees fucked. Like, oh, that person, shot. Like I can see all the dysfunction in the body.
You can't stop though.
I can't. Like, all I see is dysfunction. And, and you're talking about someone just puts on shoes and starts running. And it's like they have so much dysfunction and not enough function to know like where their center is and how to actually move their body correctly.
Mechanically, they're just not going well and they don't know how to pace themselves and they just start running. They run as hard as they can. And then they wonder why everything hurts and they're not getting any faster. Like people need to understand like there's nuances, specifics, and context you have to have during programs, and you have that coach's eye. Right? I'll go to Kohl's and I try not to do it. The first thing I do being a nutritionist is I'm always sneaking a peek in what people are eating. So I'm like, I see somebody, they're really overweight. I'm like, I already know what's going to be in there. Look at it. You got a couple box of shapes in there. You got some sugar Coca-Cola. You got a rotisserie chicken, but that's like the only thing in your basket that's good. Like, I want to help you, but I also don't want to give you unsolicited advice. But then you see other people like old men are walking around with that like crippled lean and like a lot of our industry says, well, you don't need to worry about posture. I know you put the big thing into posture, so do I. It's like everybody goes, there's no perfect posture. I'm like, yeah, but there's acceptable deviations and there's tolerances for posture. It's like if you go and you look at these old people, it's like that is your future, that's your retirement if you don't recognize it and take care of it now. So that circles back to like the powerlifters, the bodybuilders, and the extreme people who, they're just focused on muscles, not on joints. They're just focusing on muscles and not the other tissues. And you look good now. You're 25. You look fantastic. You're really strong. Remember, I was that way too before I started taking care of myself. I'm lucky I never hurt myself that bad because I always recognize and try to retain my function. Always that athlete mentality. Like I'm telling you, I've had friends that I used to compete with that they're borderline crippled now because they didn't listen to all that.
Yeah.
And it's good. The young guys don't think about it because they can recover. They get injured, they recover in a few days. That shit changes when you're in your late 30s, early 40s. All that shit changes. Like your ability to reorganize tissue, you have an accumulation over decades of these insults and trauma to your tissue. If you don't take care of it when you're pliable and it's easy to take care of, it gets a lot harder when you're later. Muscle is easy to grow. Like muscle and strength is always easy to grow. Even when you're old, the hard thing is rebuilding your joint tissue because that reorganizes itself far, far slower than muscles do. It's like your superannuation fund, do you start that when you're young or do you start that when you're already past middle age? Start when you're young. Like you want to bank that. The same thing for your physique. You want to make sure you're banking retirement funds so that you're not crippled and it's easy to fix later. Because as your body falls apart, that's going to happen. We're trying to delay that as much as possible.
Yeah, right? I think there needs to be more emphasis on people. And there has been, like you were probably one of the first people to talk about least mode years ago. Yeah. When you started to actually say, look, beast mode has its place, but there's also, you got to splash that with beast mode because otherwise, you're going to fall apart. It's like, I did the same thing. Like I'm an ectomorph, so I'm like super hard gainer. So I used to think that if I just smashed myself in the gym for a couple of hours every day, I would grow, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, it was doing the opposite. I was putting so much strain and stress on my body and I wasn't reaping the results. So then I worked harder in the gym thinking that was what I needed to do. And it's like, it's not necessarily so. I just wasn't recovering.
That's right.
I wasn't giving myself an opportunity to grow because I was just continually breaking down the tissue.
I still do the same thing. I still think I'm 21 and so I'll start training and I'm like, all right, training 3 days, training 4 days, training 5 days. And I'm like, okay, how long can I sustain this before the level of fatigue is too high or everything hurts? And it's like, you get an idea of this, but once you get that idea, then you have to be constructive about it. Okay, I was really good on 4 days. I was really good on like 7 hours of training a week. Once I went to like 9, that's when it got rapidly done. So now the smart thing would be, well, let's go back to what worked last time and see, can I ride that a little bit longer? But a lot of people will start smashing themselves and then they don't recognize the symptoms that they're overdoing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, will more work give you a higher return? Yeah, but only to a point. At some point, you're doing so much work that you're now actually going backwards. So you want to have a really good return on investment. You don't want to keep investing more of your time and your energy and getting exhausted doing this stuff. And then actually, like, let's say you're here and your gains are here, and you go to here and your gains are here, then you go to here and your gains are here. Like, you go to here, your gains are here. You're getting a law of diminishing returns. Then at some point you go up and it actually goes down, right? So people need to understand, like, you have finite resource, you have a finite ability to recover from what you're doing, and more is not necessarily better. Less is also not necessarily better. It's the Goldilocks, not too high, not too low. Figure out for yourself where it's just right.
Well, that's where the value in measuring, so you can manage what you measure,
That's
right?
it.
Like, that's why we collect the data and we watch, and having smart programming so that, you don't go in there and train for 2 hours when you don't need to, when you know that your stress levels are super high. So why would I give you a 2-hour program when you're, super stressed at work and working 80 hours a week? It's like, it's counterproductive. Like, you're just not going to sleep. You're not going to, like, grow any.
And that's where a high level coach knows what they're doing and does the work and pays attention and does those assessments and does those measurements. That's where they're invaluable, because that's where those influencers they talk a good game, but they can only talk a good game about a small section of people, and they have no idea what to do outside of that, right? So it's like, you either niche down into that small section and don't take on clients anywhere else, or you get more tools and skill sets so you can work with more people, right? So like we said over the weekend, if you're, say, a bodybuilder, and that's what niche down, only take on bodybuilders. If you're a bodybuilding man and you don't know anything about female physiology, niche down to men who bodybuild. Don't take on Mary Muffin Top, who wants to basically feel better and do better at body combat. Like, you have to know where your scope of knowledge and where your level of education is, and kind of double down on that, or you start learning how to manage more people if you want to train more people. But young coaches want money. That's what they want. And so they'll take on anybody regardless if they actually know what they're doing or not. It's fucking crazy.
It's harmful. It's negligent.
It's unethical.
It is. And, like, you and I, we've experienced in bodybuilding and all these different things. So it's like, we know what we're talking about because, one, we've lived it, so we can teach it. And it's like, and we've learnt all the different things that go along with that as well. It's not like we're just, like, say, shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Give this a go. And it's like, no, we're actually talking from experience, and we do want to not harm people. And that's super important. Like, that's the main thing. It's like, every person that steps into our office, it's like, how can I best care for you and take you to where you need to go? Both where you want to go and hey, you need to take care of these things along the way as well.
And you're known for the people you train. So you're known for the positive things you do, but you're also known for the negative things you do. So if you take on clients that you're not qualified to take on, you'll be known for the guy who can't get results with clients. Even then, there's not going to be context there. There's not going to be any room for you to go, well, I probably shouldn't have taken that client on because I actually didn't know what I was doing. People are just going to go, great, you've trained all these people and you fucked up 50% of them. You did really good with 50%. The other 50% you actually harmed because you tried to train them like the other 50%. And that's not what they were asking, and they weren't actually qualified to do that stuff.
Yeah. I think that you need to be very transparent with that from the start. So, even if someone comes to you and you're not quite sure, and that's one thing that I really respect about you is you taught this many years ago, but you basically said in a roundabout way, like, you have no qualm in saying, I don't know. Like, I don't know the answer to that, or I'll find out. Like, and you're really preaching, like, if you don't know, just say, I don't know, and we'll let you, I'll find out, or I know this person who can help you.
Yeah. And that's like, that is one of the most powerful statements you can say to people is if they don't just make shit up, just say, I'll be honest, I don't know. I've not looked into it. I can try to find out. I probably know the dude. Like, even over the weekend, somebody wanted to talk about detoxification, which is something I used to talk about or really talk about anymore. Look, here's some information on that, but I'm not your guy. I'm not the expert in that. I know way more than average, and I can help you a lot. But if you want to know that even deeper than what I just told you, go talk to Brian Walsh, because he's got a whole course on it. And like, he knows every possible thing you could, and probably for everything I've seen in the last 10 years, probably the most comprehensive person that's looked at all the ups and downs and ins and outs of that. So like I'd love to be able to sell you a detoxification course, but he's the guy to do it. Like, so that's where, my level of knowledge there is here, but his is over here. So it's like, I'll get you to here, but if you want to go further, just go talk to him. Yes. That's my responsibility as an educator, because that's a conversation that could potentially mess somebody up, put them in a hospital.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where the investigative questions come in as well. It's like if someone comes to me and they say, I want a detox, I'm like, well, how easy is it to just Google and find a detox plan, right? And you're like, there's some really questionable stuff out there. But if someone comes to me and say, oh, I want a detox, and I'm like, well, what are you detoxing from? Like, who told you need a detox? Like, what is it you're,
And what are we talking? We're talking about kidney detox, liver detox, gut detox, cellular detox, brain detox. It can be a lot of categories of what we're actually talking about. And it might be all the above. It's like, okay, which one do we take care of first? And am I the person to actually help you with this? Or like, if you're a personal trainer or a strength coach, it's like, oh, it's not really in our scope of practice. So it's like, maybe I send them to somebody who's an actual detoxification professional.
Yeah. A professional who has no resistance to referring out. Yeah. That's somebody of integrity right there. Like, that's someone you can trust, because they're not just trying to keep your business all to themselves.
If we had that in all the industries too, it would be nice, because we would just be passing clients back and forth to each other instead of trying to be where, like, put my detox hat on. I'm a detox. Oh, you want a strength train too? Let me take that off. My strength training hat on. It's like, no. Somebody else is better at that. Just refer them back to the coach. And then when they have stuff for either nutrition or detox, so they'll send it back to you. So, but there's a lot of coaches that they start in the coaching industry and then you get into like the functional medicine side. And it's like, man, that's not really what we do as trainers. And it's got medicine in it. That should be realistically somebody with a medical license. But it's gotten, like I said, it's a fucking Wild West here, right? So you haven't heard me talk about that stuff for a long time.
No, it's not even allowed in Australia. Like, but it's not a qualification that it's recognized here in Australia.
No, it's not, and it's not. Well, if you want to be, it's like a gray market type of thing, right? It's not really, as far as functional medicine practitioner, it's kind of like is it legal or not legal? It's kind of, the lines are blurred there. But for me, like when we started teaching foundations, I told everybody this is not a functional medicine course, because I'm not a doctor. I don't have an MD, a DO, none of that. So you're going to learn similar things that you would learn in a functional medicine course, but this is functional physiology. So this is going to be more tailored to what you guys can actually do and when to understand, when to refer this out. I'm going to bring that course back. So I'm updating it and want to bring it out, because that was awesome. That was a fun course.
Yeah.
Fun course.
Yeah. Then I'll see you then.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I've been in the industry now, a long time, like 13 plus years. And it's like, well, I still am continually learning. I'm going to the courses. Like, why I'm not going to pretend that I know everything. Like, I'm a student first and a teacher second. I love teaching. Yeah. It's like, but I love learning. Like, I just live and breathe learning.
And like, if you're going to be an educator, if you're going to teach, you have to continue. I think Zoe and we're really transparent as a company. I think Zoe did a post a year or two ago and showed everybody how much we actually spend on our education. It was something like $50,000 a year between her, me, and our employees. And people are complaining about paying $500 for a weekend course. Like, yeah, if you want to get to the level that we're playing at, my entire 20s, I was broke. I was making six figures, and this was over 25 years ago, and I was always broke. And my mom goes, why are you always broke? You're making so much money. Like, yeah, but I'm spending all of it on education and learning. She goes, why? It's an investment that's going to pay off when I'm in my 40s. Now it's paying off, but people need to invest more in themselves, because how can you expect a client to invest in you if you won't even invest in yourself? And an investment in yourself is an investment in your clients. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, that's why I tell my clients, I practice what I preach.
Yeah.
It's like everything I tell you, like I've done, like you said, and it's like I show them. I'm learning all the time. Like, I don't have all the answers. I'm always like improving myself. I'm always looking for the next best version of me. That's just what I love to do. I thrive on that.
So old school continual growth and having a bigger beginner's mindset and a flexible mindset.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, put it like this, like, have you ever had to replace a flange on a toilet?
No.
Okay. I'm going to tell you because I have before, right? because I'm a man and I'm stupid, right? So years ago, I had a house that was on a septic tank. It was renting it. I'd never had a house on a septic tank. And all of a sudden the bathroom smelled like the septic tank. And I didn't know what was going on. So I go to Home Depot, which is our Bunnings. And I'm like, what do I do? And the guy's, oh, you need to replace the flange. What do? You need a hammer drill with this, this, and this. I ended up spending probably 3 times more to do that. And probably dozens of hours longer than I should have been doing to do it myself. I should have gotten the expert, which would be the plumber. It's like, so now I'm like, I can reasonably remove a toilet and replace the flange. And I had to educate myself to do that. But I would never sell that as a service to somebody just because I could do that. So just because someone can work out really well and they built a body for themselves and they're really good, that doesn't mean that they can do it for other people.
Yeah.
That is exactly what's happening with this younger generation. They go, I like to work out. I want to work out with other people and count the reps. But they actually don't know what they're doing because they didn't go to plumber school to actually learn how to do all this shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. You're only as good as what you know.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have to continue to learn more. And that's how I found you. It's like I mean, Charles Poliquin was obviously like the biggest name in the industry back then, and then the Poliquin Group, which you were a teacher in. And so that's how I met you, because I was there to become a biosignature practitioner, and I wanted to add more tools to my tool belt and have this measurement tool to get to use. You know, it's like, well, what's the point of that? Well, I had value from it because I had seen the value in it, and I wanted to give that value back to my clients.
That's it. It's like people will scoff at spending $1,500 for a course, but if you make in the next 12 months 10 times the value of that, it's a really good investment. Where else are you going to find a return on investment like that? Right? And that's kind of been a matter of pride with us. We don't teach business. We don't teach money. We just teach you how to get better at your job. And we've had people that were struggling making $35,000 a year. Within 2 years of doing our courses, they're making $120,000, $150,000. We've not taught them how to market. We've not taught them how to do sales. We've only taught them how to get better results. And now they're on a waiting list, and they were struggling as trainers before. Everyone's going into business coaching. Everybody's going into marketing, but they don't actually have a skill set. So they're basically getting really good at selling a product that doesn't work. So it would be like, it's like they're selling wish.com personal training, but they're really good at selling, they're really good at marketing, but they actually don't know how to do a good job. And then they just have to keep farming for new clients because the clients, after a few months, realize they actually don't know what they're fucking talking about, or they're making them feel worse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's that thing about integrity. It's like, you know, you have to actually have care. You know, what do most trainers say when they get in the industry? They're like, I just want to help you.
Yeah.
They say that, like that's the lie.
They say that, but then they think they can make a lot of money, and then it switches to that. So then they go, well, why do I don't need to know what I'm doing. I know enough.
Yeah.
I know enough to get people where they need to be. I'll just go get a business mentor, and I'll just learn how to just farm for leads and try to close leads.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. Reputation is everything, you know. And if you didn't have a good reputation, if I didn't have a good experience meeting you, then I wouldn't have continued like learning from you post Poliquin Group.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you were you know, an arrogant jackass, right?
Well, I'm a jackass.
But you know, if you were a nice person, if you were a good person, I wouldn't have wanted to even know you after that. So it's like, reputation is everything, and how that person makes you feel. And when you know that they genuinely care about you, and you know, you teach that by just being who you are. Right, you don't talk about like, oh, you should be a caring person when you're like this and that, but you say like, you need to actually, well, you do actually, because you say you need to really truly investigate all the things, because if you give them things, it can actually cause them harm. So you're better to do less and more slowly. But I guess the problem is with a lot of people, they want things freaking fast, right? So they're like, I want to, you know, lose 5 kilos in 2 weeks. And it's like,
let's cut your arm off.
To starve yourself, you know, you lose it. But like, there's all these, you know, expectations nowadays, and I think that it's important for you know, people like you and I to share that the realistic expectations of what is possible and how to do it in a healthy way without breaking yourself. Like we've done extremes, you know, bodybuilding is an extreme sport. That's why you don't call it athletes. I understand that. I like the discipline behind bodybuilding.
Yeah.
It really taught me a lot of like structure and discipline in my life, like really just honing in. But you know, it's not traditionally healthy. Like,
No.
And now everybody's taking gear, and it's like that's a normal thing now. It's commercialized. Everybody should be taking stuff. It's like, well, for what? Like a medal that like.
Yeah, for a plastic trophy.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's one thing I do like right now is that people are being more transparent about what they're taking, because I've always been transparent about it. I'm like, look, this is what I've done. This is what I do now. This is what I'm not doing now. And there were very few people that were actually being honest. Myself, John Meadows, very few people would actually say, yeah, I've taken Trent, I've taken Deal, Angela, this is what I've done. And then say, look, this is what I found with experimentation in my 20s. Don't do this, don't do this. This is bad, this is good. But it's nice that at least it's getting to the point where people understand that, especially in our industry, almost everybody's on shit, right? And especially if they look really good. So I think that is a good thing that we are having conversations about it, and TRT is getting more accepted. It's not as much of a taboo thing anymore, but there's still a lot of people who aren't being transparent, and it's important that we're honest, because our clients, if they look at someone with a really nice physique and they go, I want to look like that, they need to understand that that wasn't just a product of clean eating and training hard and getting your sleep. That was also a product of testosterone and primobolan and tren. And like, if you do want to look like that, this is what it's going to take. If you're not willing to do that, then you can look like this, but a really scaled down version. Right? So I think being honest and transparent is the best way to start everything.
Yeah, I do like the fact that a lot of people are talking about it, but then part of it is sort of making it normal, like it's normalizing a little bit. And, you know, on TikTok, there's like these trend challenges and things now, and it's blowing my mind. Like, people think that a TRT cycle is, you know, like, oh yeah, but I'm taking this and that, and it's like, no, that's not what it is.
I think it's just like it's in those early stages where like everybody's really like, oh, I can actually talk about this now, and it gets out of control. But just looking at trends, it will calm down at some point. But you can't fix stupid. People will do this stuff. I mean, look at the Tide Pod challenges, and kids were eating Tide Pods and hurting themselves. There's always going to be that small minority that is almost seemingly fucking it up for everybody by doing stupid and risky things. But at least the people who are doing it responsibly don't have to hide it as much anymore. So there's always going to be a negative aspect of things. But I think it's way worse for people to be non-transparent and do that and lead people to believe that they've done that without any assistance. Right? If you look at even like old stuff like Casey Vider, when they were doing the Nautilus stuff, and they were like, oh, he's doing like one set to failure, and we put on 40 pounds of muscle in 4 weeks. It's like, we did it without steroids. Come on, guys. Like, we know the truth, but that stuck for decades. And then it finally comes out that, well, you know, he was kind of doing some other shit and training more when he would sneak off and do more stuff. And it's like, okay, it's like, at least we can start having a bit of honesty with it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if you want to build quality of muscle, you've got to train hard. And you have to train hard.
You do.
Actually, you know, your perception of hard is so different. I love breaking people's understanding of what they think is hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, you shouldn't have any gas left in the tank right now.
Yeah.
So you really can't show me or tell me that you actually exerted at least 80 or 90% there, because you're not huffing and puffing, like, you look fine. So I'm like, I want you to go again.
Yeah.
You know, like.
There's a continuum with everything, right? Yeah. There's like, okay, you have to train really hard, but there is this ceiling where training beyond that is not good. And then you say, okay, you got to train way harder than this. And look at most people. I said it over the weekend. Most people they think they're training hard, but they're not. So it's like, you don't even have to get to this extreme, but if you're down here, we need to get let's get closer to that. And like training at that ceiling is way harder than most people are going to do. But Jesus, you are so far away from that. you're going to have to come at least here if you really want to get results. So it's important for people to understand that if you're not seeing changes, you probably are not training hard enough. But then if you start training harder and harder and harder, keep in mind, we also don't want the pendulum to swing all the way over to that side.
Yeah. It's a fine line, like it's, a balancing act with your life and your lifestyle and what you're doing in the gym as well. It's for most people, and, majority of the coaches that were there on the weekend, we train the majority of general population. Yeah, we might sprinkle in physique athletes. Yeah, we might do this, we might do that. But we work with everyday people. So everyday people these things need to be taken into consideration.
Yeah.
Do they have kids? Do they have this? How many hours are they working? Are they traveling for work? Are they doing FIFO work? You've got to take into all these considerations and then program around that and program everything around that to support their life, basically.
And I'd also add one thing to add, kind of that intensity and volume issue, right? Especially if anybody's watching this, it's like maybe they're not a coach, maybe they are a gym pop person, maybe they're kind of like an amateur weekend warrior, bodybuilder, whatever. Most gym pop, they're only gonna go to the gym, train 2, maybe 3. If you're lucky, you can get 4. So if you're only gonna go in there for 2 to 3 hours a week, you're gonna have to train a lot harder than if you were training 4 to 5, because you don't have enough volume to really overcome a lack of effort. So if you're a minimalist time trainer, you don't have those time, you're going to have to train a lot harder than you think. If you have a few more hours in the gym, you can dial that back a little bit because you can overwhelm stimulation with volume. So it's like, you got to be constructive and say, okay, how many days can I realistically invest in training? I really only have 3 days. Okay, you don't have time to fuck around. You're going to have to take everything close proximity to failure for at least a few steps on every body part. Now, if you go, well, I actually could train 5 to 6 days. Okay, cool. You don't actually have to go full potato, but you got to go semi-potato. Something I started doing lately is I started using Wendler 531 again. Something I haven't used in years. And this is the strategy I'm using it for, is that if you need to show somebody how they're not training hard. So if you ever use 531?
I'm not sure.
So it's a Jim Wendler who used to be with Elite FTS in Westside. You get a pretty good idea of what the 1 rep max is. So let's say your 1 rep max is 100 kilos. And then you multiply that by 85, 90%. That's your training weight. Okay, so let's say it's 100 kilos. You're going to base your maxes off of that, or your training numbers off of 90. You do a 3x5, you do 65% of that for 5, 75% of that for 5, 85% of that, and you do an AMRAP. Then the next session, you go to 70, 80, 90. So you go to 70 by 3, 80 by 3, 90 by AMRAP. And then on the third round, you do a 5-3-1. It's basically 75% for 5, 85% for 3, and 1 for an AMRAP. That is a really good strategy to get people to understand how much they're slacking, because those first 2 sets, because they're sub-maximal, don't feel anything. But then if they do that AMRAP, if they do, let's say you estimate they're 100, or they think it's at 100, and they do that, say 75% on that first AMRAP, but they get 12 reps. It's like, okay, we can actually now, if they get close proximity to failure, we can show them, you've been stopping way too little reps in reserve, and we can now calculate out what we think the true max is. We can change the numbers for the 3 by 3, and then in that AMRAP, maybe they hit 8 reps. Okay, realistically at that point, you should be only hitting 5. So I can redo that, and on the 5-3-1, when you hit that 1, you should only be able to get 1 or 2. So it's a really good way in 3 weeks to actually find out what their true rep max is and say, look, you know how you can see here where you hit 12 reps on that. Normally you've been hitting 6. You can see you've not actually been lifting anywhere close to where you need to be. So do you understand you're stronger than you think you are? They're yeah. I'm okay, now what have we learned? When you do that 3x5, you should be getting about 5. When you do that 3x3, you should be getting 3 to 5. And on that last one, you should be only getting 1, maybe 2 tops. And they're oh shit, I have been slacking a little bit. But it's nice because it gives them a couple of easy sets, and then they get this one ball busting set. It's a really good training tool. I use it a lot on coaches. When I think they're sandbagging shit,
Yep.
I give them that.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Well, you do say that coaches think they train harder than they think they do.
Yeah. Or I'll have coaches that do train hard, but like when I get a new coach, I have no idea what their experiences are and how they've learned how to do something. And like I said, I'm really fussy about technique and how we do things. And I want to find what's the best. I want to fit the exercise to you, not the other way around. So if I see that it looks like they're trying to fit themselves to the exercise instead of the other way around, I'm like, okay, we need to figure out how to do this. And we have to figure out how to make the pieces of the puzzle line up. So this is your back squat, and your back squat is different than my back squat or your back squat. It's your back squat. The way you do each exercise has to fit you. And I have to have these conversations with coaches. A lot of my coaches, they look really sloppy, which infuriates me. I'm like, if you don't have pride in the way you train yourself, I'm scared to figure out what you do with clients, right? Because if you don't do it right, how are you teaching your clients to do it right? So I have these long talks with my coaches. I'm like, yeah, you're sloppy, you need to clean your shit up. Like, take pride in what you do, because it's a direct reflection to me on how you're actually coaching your clients.
Yeah.
Because if you're allowing yourself to do that and you're your own billboard, I guarantee your 50 clients, all of them are training like shit.
Mm-hmm. Even my clients used to say when I was in a commercial gym, they were just like, is that trainer going to fix that client's form? Yeah. And I was like, no.
That's bad when your clients see it.
Heaps of times. And they're like, I'm like, well, no, because trainer is only as good as the trainer knows.
Yeah.
And if they don't know any better than that, then that's what that looks like. And I said, well, I can't literally go over there and be like, hey, excuse me, you're not doing that right. Unless I see something really harmful or really stupid. But unfortunately, that's just how it is.
Like, whenever I'm at a gym, even if I'm at a gym where nobody knows who I am, I'm hyper conscious of the way I'm doing things. Because if you walk into the gym and you got a decent physique and you look like like I have a lot of pride in the way that I apply my exercise and the technique that I do. I always want to make sure that it doesn't have to be at 100%, but it needs to be close to it needs to be under 10%. Like, you be 90% there where no one can look at you and be like, hey, you need to squeeze your bum, or you need to squeeze your abs, you need to do this or drop your head. I'm like, no one ever has to clean up my technique, because I'm my own worst critic for this stuff. If I'm posting videos on Instagram, if you watch on Instagram, you will never see me post something where it's bad technique. And if it is, I'll explain on there, yeah, I didn't realize I was doing this. I cleaned that up for the next one. Having that transparency and showing other coaches, like, technique matters to me, it should matter to you as well. Because if it matters to me and it matters to you, it's probably going to matter even more for their clients.
Yeah. We're going to set the example. Like, whether or not they know we're a professional or not, it's like you want to exemplify what things should look like when done properly.
And like that saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Understand.
Now, I do have a problem with that, because, especially with me having ADD, like, I do some things really sloppy. But the things that matter, I do to a high level of precision, accuracy, and technique. So my job requires me to understand an exercise to be able to perform it perfectly and to be able to teach other people how to perform it perfectly. So kind of going back to that saying, I don't think that applies for everything in your life, right? Like, because if Zoe will tell you, I'm the most unorganized person in the world. But if you look at my training and all the stuff that I do there, it is tip top, the most organized thing you've ever seen. Everything has its place. Everything's done in a system. But without her, I would not have made it here on time. I would just forget shit. So Zoe's my organizer for everything that's outside of my career.
Yep.
But if you're a professional in a career, how you do one thing there does equal how you do everything. So if you lift sloppy, program sloppy for yourself, you're going to do it for everybody else, and you're going to accept that that's okay for them to do. And to me, it's not.
Yeah.
Are you an expert professional or not?
Yeah. If you have low standards and you're lazy, then you're actually going to just give people a free pass. Like, when they do the same thing, you're like, oh, that's all right, I do the same thing. It's like, well, who's getting benefit here?
And I can't expect these coaches learning from me. If I'm doing things sloppy, I'm teaching them that that's okay. And it's not okay. It's not okay, especially when it comes to people are paying you. You have due diligence to give them a level of care. and to not create anything negative or hurt people, which means we need to make sure that technique is tip top and our programming is tip top and everything makes sense and everything's well thought out and planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always give them what they need, but also what they want to make it enjoyable. And that's the important part.
Yeah.
I mean, my clients often complain if I'm doing things too technical and they get frustrated because like they really want to get it, but it's like, all right, but you understand, I'm going to practice the skill. You got to get really good at it.
That's it.
And then this will transfer into this. So it's like we're doing a split squat. You get really great at this and you're depth improves and you get stronger in a single leg. Your back squat's going to improve the next time I put you under the bar. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, so they really need to understand why they're investing so much time into technique and improving their skill.
Yeah, and especially with a high skill type of movement, it's like, okay, yeah, and man, I'm very blunt. And my clients be like, man, that was a real garbage lift. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. That sucked, but it is getting better, and this is a high level skill. Now, don't worry about that because all of your other exercises were done perfectly. So keep doing that and just put more of your focus on building the skill for that one, because I'm asking a lot of you by moving you to this really high level skill. I struggled with it at first. Everyone struggles with it. That's okay. Don't keep saying it's garbage. It's going to be garbage. Like, I know that, you know that, God knows that, but practice will make it better.
Yeah, it's crazy. The people aren't willing to put in the time to really hone in on skills. But the ones that do, they shine. Like, it's not hard to stand out nowadays, to be honest. Like, if you really like work hard and you hold yourself to a high standard, because people are just kind of like here, there, and everywhere with everything, and it's like, if you just really, again, integrity, like I was saying, it's like you just really have integrity in what you do, you will stand out. Like,
have pride in what you do.
Literally, yeah. With how you treat yourself. So it's like how we train in the gym. It's like we're not going to train sloppy in the gym. We're not going to leave weights lying around. Like, we put things back. Like, I hate it, but sometimes I put weights back for other people. It's like because I don't like working out in an environment where it's messy.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's dangerous.
And it's dangerous.
It's irritating.
But it's like, it makes me feel better when the space is tidy. So it's like, well, why am I cleaning up someone else's gym? It's not my problem. But at the same time, it is.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what? I think I remember a while back there was an article about I think it was a Japanese rugby team, and they showed the locker room after their match, and it looked like cleaners had come and tidied everything up. And that's that Japanese thing, like that respect and keeping, like, leave it the way you found it and all that. These are professional rugby players. They don't have to do that, but they did it because it's a matter of pride. It's the right thing to do.
Yep.
And so that you go in our gym, we don't have to clean anything, because we tell our clients, if you don't put shit back the way where it goes, you don't train here anymore. And we have a little exclusive boutique. Like, we're full, almost at full capacity. So if you get booted out and we say, come back in 3 months when you can learn how to put your shit back, you come back, you may not be able to train here anymore. And we do, just not to say, like, not to pat ourselves out, we do have the best gym in this area, because there is no other gym that has the equipment we have and the knowledge we have and the cleanliness and the community like that. So a lot of people will leave and they'll come back because they're like, that gym is shit. I went to 2 other gyms and it was not the same thing. I'm like, good. Now just make sure you keep your shit tidy. So we've trained all of our clients to be able to do that. And we try to reinforce that culture that our community here takes care of each other, and they also take care of the gym. And a clean gym, a tidy gym, is a safe gym. And if you can come in here and do 4 sets of 12, you can put your fucking plates back, right?
Yep.
I can remember when I used to work in really big gyms like Gold's Gym, you would have people that would fight over a front row spot and then go run on a treadmill. That makes no sense. Like, you could have parked anywhere. You're about to go run on a treadmill. So it's like, if you're going to go on the gym floor and you're going to beat the shit out of yourself with weights, the easiest thing you could do that day is put your fucking weights up.
Yeah.
And just count that as extra activity.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a respect thing, and you said about the pro athletes, and it's like, they say that a lot about the top teams are those ones who have the respect. They have the respect for everybody that's on the team, from the people that are handling the drinks and the towels. It's like, and they clean up after themselves. They're not like the entitled, like, oh, I'm a pro athlete, I just throw my shit over here and you pick it up for me. It's like, they're actually not the ones at the top of the game.
Yeah.
People at the top of the game are the ones that take pride in packing up their bags, and they do everything like correct.
Like, I don't care if you have a messy house, but you're not going to come and mess up my house in here, right? You have some pride. But it's a beautiful thing that more people are training now. But the problem is that there's not enough people that own gyms and not enough trainers that are actually teaching their clients how to be good gym members, how to do things right and do things right, not just for themselves, but for everybody else as well. So, yeah. That was a big thing I learned from Charles. Charles demanded a tidy gym. Every single thing in that gym had a proper place. And if you removed it from that place, you put it back. And I saw him absolutely chastise and destroy in front of everybody, 60 people like that. And he would absolutely roast you and force you to put stuff back. And I'm like, okay, that's how I was raised in Texas. That's what we do.
That's the standard.
That's the standard.
Yeah.
You get a trainer, you're gonna be a good person, you're gonna be a good client.
Yeah. And if you want to be the best, you've got to see the best. And I think that's why we both seek out Charles. And I seek out Charles, I seek out you.
Yeah.
You seek out people who are the best at what you want to learn. Like you said, training, weightlifting and things like that. So, the people that we attract now are those same people. Really. Fortunately, we're in a position where, people that come to us are researching us first. Like they're not like, it's not their first meeting. Like they've watched this podcast or, something and they've gone, okay, I think actually I really want to learn from you. So, but that has taken so much, like thousands and thousands of hours of expertise, practice.
Don't even say hours, years.
Well, I mean, like millions of hours.
Yeah.
Thousands of courses and things like that, like literally.
And like that 10,000, the thing with our industry is that 10,000 hours, you're looking at like one subject, right? But we have a lot of subjects to do. So we cannot, it's 10,000 or more for each individual thing we do. You got nutrition, you got lifting, you got lifestyle, you have communication, you have the psychological component of communication, like we were talking about last night with NLP and learning how to change someone's mindset and trying to get compliance. There's so much in a positive way, not using it for nefarious manners, but there's so many things that we have to do. It's you have to be a continual student the rest of your life. If you want to be at the top, you have to. Yeah,
you never stop learning. Like, literally.
I don't understand people who don't like it.
I don't know that.
Like, I'm reading 5 books right now. Now, none of that's for learning. It's all fantasy stuff. But like Zoe and I have thousands of books at home, 1,000 books on my Kindle. We're constantly learning. Max is all day. He's learning stuff and asking me, and we're going through stuff. It's like we're obsessed about it. Like, and if you want to be a professional, you want to be at the top, you have to have an almost unhealthy obsession about what you're doing. Yeah, because you love it. It is an obsession, but it's a passion. Yeah, it's like because we get so passionate when we're all together, and it's like I wanted to document things a little bit more and like take the footage and do that. I didn't do any of that because I was so immersed, I was so present that it's like I didn't even touch my phone really. It's like I just wanted to like be there and just be a sponge, and contribute where I could and talk to people. It's like we're there for a reason, It's like, and all these people, like we've all given up our weekend, we've traveled in. It's like we're all there to dedicate ourselves to become better. Yeah, that's why and you say I teach differently. I don't stop. I don't stop. Don't stop. If people want to sit there during lunch, they want to eat dinner, I won't stop. I will keep going, and I'll stay. And we got booted out last night. They're like, "Why do you do that?" I'm like, "Because it's the right thing to do. We have a weekend to do this, and we don't get to do this all the time. So for me, I want to try to do as much as I can with the people who want to listen and want to stay and talk. So I will throttle myself all weekend and just be tired as fuck the next week because it's important. It's important to do this, right? Charles used to be like, during the break, you don't bother me. I'm like, during the break, bother me. But if you're scared to ask questions, bother me. Like, I don't eat lunch. I don't do anything. I'll do it. You want to go have some beers and keep it? Let's go. Let's fucking go, because that's how passionate I am about this and helping coaches get better at what they do. Yeah. Actually, and we are very passionate about what we do, and we'll always be. I think, like, when are you going to retire? What are you going to do next? It's like, I'm doing it. Like, retirement. What is that? Right? The fuck what I do? That's what I say to people. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm dead. Like, then by do nothing. Like, I don't want to do nothing. Like, I'm going to be doing this in some realm, something. It's like you're training coaches now. So it's like you're training coaches to have greater impact. It's like,
That's the goal, right? It's just continue your.
It's nice. We're in an industry where we don't have to retire. I won't retire. Like, I may dial it back at some point, or I may like funnel it down, but I'm never going to stop.
Yeah.
I may get to the point where I'm not working 60, 70 hours a week. I may work 40 like a regular job, but I will never stop. That's an old school thing too, especially in Texas. Like my father was a mechanic, and my father, he worked overtime. He was in his 60s, still working overtime. He ended up had back surgery, and ended up getting cancer, multiple myeloma, right? And he didn't know like you're dying, like the percentage. You can do the chemo, we can do the radiation, you're probably going to die. My mom lied to him and said, no, doctor said you're fine, just do the medication. Because we knew if we told him he was going to die, the doctor said he's got like 3 months. He ended up living like 2.5 years longer. He worked until the day he died. He worked until he got to the point where his mental capacity couldn't work anymore because all the treatments fucked his brain. But I asked him, like, what are you doing? Like, why don't you just retire and relax? He goes, well, what else would I do? Because I enjoy what I do. I enjoy it. And so he enjoyed just going to the shop and working on the machines and stuff. And he goes, I'll work until they tell me I'm not allowed to work anymore. Like, okay, that's how I was brought up.
Yeah. I think that we're blessed to be doing something that we love. So we don't really need a break from it. Like, we would happily work 6-7 days a week. I'm going back to Adelaide, and I'll be going straight back to work, no rest. Like, it's just like, we love it. It's
enriching for me.
Yeah.
It's really, I just feel like I learned so much and I pass that off. And it's like, there's just so much, there's so much I get out of it, like helping everybody else, and then learning from the students too, right? Especially when they ask me questions, and I'm like, man, I need to think about that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense,
Yeah, it's cool.
It's great.
Yeah. All right, Luke. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. And I know you and I can talk for ages and ages. But a question I ask everybody is, what does summoning your superhuman mean to you?
Summoning my superhuman. Summoning. So can you unpack that a little bit more? Summoning my superhuman.
Yeah, well, I guess the big emphasis is always trying to be better, to be your best self. And I think you definitely live by that. So hence why the whole podcast is summoning your superhuman, right? So you want to help teach people how to find whatever's in them, to find a career that they're just as passionate about as we are, because they can see us and like, man, they really love what they do. It's like, I want to be doing something that I really love, or a coach might be listening to this and they might want to reach out and want to like learn more. So, but for you in your life and where you're at, you've achieved a lot. And I know you say that you're still waiting for the big, you're not satisfied with what you've achieved. You're always looking for more, right?
Yeah.
So, what does summoning your superhuman then mean for you? Like, how do you continually find that passion and desire within, I guess?
Man, that's a really good question. I like that. That's good. Look, I mean, I don't know. I just have this, I've always lived by Zig Ziglar's statement of help enough people get what you want out of life, eventually you'll get what you want. So that's kind of my underlying fundamental value, right? And the way I do that is by teaching. Like, let me teach through my experiences, let me teach you through my education, and let me have a big impact on everyone else through you, right? And then you, at some point, those students will become teachers as well, and then they'll pass that forward. So to me, it's like building a legacy, right? Like, I don't need to be like the Charles Paul. I don't need people to have my name and remember me and all that. I want to be remembered through passing that through other people. And it is true what they say. If you're passionate about what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I'm not gonna try to fool people and say there aren't days that are really hard. There are days where I just don't want to do this. But those are very few. That's days where I've been traveling and I've been working for like 28 days straight, 12 hours a day. And at some point you just burn yourself out. You take a week off, you do some mushrooms and you play some video games and you decompress, you go, okay, I'm ready to go again. It's like, I just have such a love for this that I just don't feel like I ever have to work. Right. So, that kind of summoning my superhuman is, doesn't matter what industry you're in, if you can find something you're passionate about, you won't think that you're working. You won't think that it's a pain in the ass. You'll want to do more. It'll never be a factor of how do I make more money doing less? It's more of a factor of how can I have a bigger impact? How can I do even more than I'm doing now? can I channel my Superman and how do I make this more economical, efficient, faster? How do I relay this information in a better way? How do I get people to get a better understanding? How do I simplify the process? And that's, I guess, what some people, if you said, what's your superhuman power? I think a lot of people would say that I have an ability to take a really complex subject and refine it down to a really simple concept without losing any of the context or losing any of the power of that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have a really hard time talking about myself.
I know. You still talking made it sound about it. I think the seed is the desire is about other people, right? Like we're both fueled by our desire to help. That it's hard to just hone it back down into, because we're so satisfied. It's a level of satisfaction. When I was listening to you, it's like job satisfaction. People would normally call it job satisfaction.
Yeah.
But it's a level of satisfaction with what you do and the pride and the obsession and a combination of all of the above and having fun.
Yeah.
Right. Because even though we talk quite seriously, I guess, today, but it's behind the camera and behind the scenes, we like to actually laugh and have a lot of fun. So it's you can have all of those things if you find the right things for you, or you could be in a job that you don't see the positive impact that you're making. We're in a position where we can see it generally, we hear about it. Oh, how you helped me has trickled into this, and we're like, oh, that's amazing. That stuff, that's better than any medal that I could ever be given. It's
if you it's always been the love languages thing, and mine would be words of affirmation. If you tell me I'm doing a good job and I made an impact in your life, that's I still need to be paid because daddy's got bills and he's got dogs and a wife and all that, but and you got to keep the business right. But for me, 50% of the salary that I make is just hearing other coaches go, wow, that stuff you helped me with, I gave it to all my clients and I can't believe how well that worked. I'm awesome. And it's all the other coaches in my facility want to know how I'm doing this, and I'm telling them I'm giving them bits and pieces of what you're doing. I'm okay, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Take it and give it to other people. Give it and let's just make everything better, make the industry better. So half the reward is just having that impact on people. And Zoe and I've never made it a money focused business, because when you make it that way, you have to make it. We're selling a service, we're selling education. It has to be about the students. It can never be about getting rich off the industry, right? It's just how can we keep the train going so we can help even more people? And I'm just every day I wake up and I go, I can't believe people actually want to hear me talk and want to actually listen, right? And sometimes I go, I can't believe I can even stand up there and do that, because I was terrified of public speaking. When I went to college for computer science, I had to take a mass communications course, and I was shitting bricks every time I got to talk. And when I did my first lecture or 2 lectures, I was shitting bricks. And now people go, do you get nervous? I go, no, I can't wait to get up there, because I'm having so much fun, and I'm hoping that everybody else is having so much fun. So yeah, man, this is my dream job for me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Luke. Luke, the King Muscle Nerd. I'll put everywhere you can get in contact with him and follow them. They're amazing. They're just great people. And thank you so much.
Thank you.